Ladies and gents, you're very welcome back. I'm joined once again by Ab Series founder, Jay Farrant. Thank you very much for your time again, Jay. We're looking toward the 2025 competitive season, and we have 3 monumental competitions on the calendar that seem to grow in prestige every year. We've Clash of Titans 3, we've Abs Pro 7, and we've the second Reach Rumble. Now, most commonly in powerlifting, when people achieve number 1 on a platform or a podium or whatever it might be, they're usually given like a medal, a plaque, a certificate, whatever it might be. But the series competitions are unique in the way that people win a title belt. They win a championship. Yeah. So, and I know that that's become a very sought after prize, a much sought after prize in many of the athletes that compete at these competitions. I know particularly because the athletes themselves get to keep the belt. They can bring it with them. They can travel with it. There's a definite, a good amount of ownership over it. Dave Richardson, obviously last year, become a 2-time champ, or dual champ, I should say. So massive achievement on his part. What was the inspiration for belts, firstly? Like, what made you decide to deviate from the standard, like medals or like trophies or whatever it might be?
I always thought medals were kind of tacky, sports day-esque. Everyone gets a medal at comps if you come last. It's like, I think just in today's times, medals have, participation medals have actually devalued what medals are. Even at IPF, they started giving them out to people who just turned up, which is where I would have placed, value in like a medal as such. So yeah, just kind of bleh, like not really my thing. Whereas a belt that you keep only while you were champion, I think it's more prestigious, it's unique. It kind of becomes, even from a marketing point of view, like look all the images we have of our lifters with our belt. It's kind of like, you will always remember it, getting your arm lifted with a belt. So yeah, it's just something different and original. Obviously now you see a lot of like other platforms trying to copy the belt thing, but I feel like an abs belt hits different. To get an abs belt, for a start, you don't keep it. You don't have it on your shelf at home for the rest of your life. It's like you're a key holder to it. Yeah. You have to come back and defend it and give it back, and then it's not yours anymore. It's the next person. So it's just prestigious. It's a prestigious award, and nobody's managed to win an abs belt 2 years in a row. That's another thing.
The curse is real.
The curse is real. Dave Richardson might do it next year, but then again, like, you've got some monsters coming over to assassinate him. So
Colton Engelbrecht.
Yeah,
got the name right.
Yeah, some guy called Colton is on a warpath. Yeah, next year. But he's got to do it. A lot of big lifters have said it, but can't back it up, or they just get injured trying to stay at that level. So we'll soon see.
Do you know, that was a part of it I hadn't considered with the belt, like the physical belt, is that like any competition I've ever done myself that I've podiumed at, obviously I have a medal now forever, and I can look back when I'm old and grey and broke up and tell my kids I used to be able to lift that much weight because I've got this thing, whereas earning that belt is fleeting, because every day you've got it is a day you've had to fight to earn it, and you constantly have to redo that to be able to hold on to it. I hadn't really considered that, and that is, you think I would have with the whole pro wrestling thing, but that is a very unique selling point to what that is and what that means. And I think as well, and I know we've discussed this in the past, and I think it can't be overstated, one of the unique aspects of the powerlifting series, or at any of the events, is there isn't medals for first, second, third. There isn't like participation medals for everyone that came to the meet. Everyone gets their certificate, obviously, you know what I mean, to say they lifted. But the only person that carries home a prize is the person that won. So when we talk about the pro female champ, the pro male champ. So like this past year, Dave Richardson and fucking Leander. Why can't I remember her name? Brianni Terry. Jesus Christ, my apologies. I was thinking of Landry Peden for a second, who did not have a great day. But in any case, Brianni and Dave had that moment on the podium or on the platform together, and that's like cemented in history now, because they're the only Abs Pro 6 male and female champion, and that they're the only two people that had that moment. There wasn't like, yeah, well, I was second. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know, like, yeah, sure you were, but what do you have to show for other than, you know, you were the first loser, really?
Yeah, if you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I've been second on multiple occasions, but you've got to be rewarded for winning. That's the whole point of sport and competition, and why you come to a competition and not gym lift, you know? So
Do you think that kind of scares some people away from these comps?
absolutely, because you're like, yeah, you made a big deal about winning an event, like, which is how it's supposed to be. So, and yeah, some people, like, we've seen it last weekend with a particular meet that, you know, people turned up, it wasn't sanctioned, and they left because they weren't, like, you know, how about you just win the fucking meet? You know, just beat people, be a winner. Like, everyone's scared to say that shit now. It's all about, ooh, it's all about taking part. It's fucking not about taking part. Like, if you're a competitive athlete, it's about winning, and that's it. Yeah, have fun in the process and all that, but it's about winning and being the winner. Like, fuck off with this, like, participation bullshit, you know? Like, there are meets out there for that, like the regional series and stuff like that.
Absteins.
Where it is more about participating, but, like, if you're at a pro level event, you're there to win or fucking beat people. Like, that's it, end of. Otherwise, you shouldn't be there if your mentality is not like that.
I would agree with that sentiment. I think everyone that gets into any sport, they are getting in it to win. I think it's more so what separates people is, are you willing to do what it takes to be someone that can win? And I think, to be honest, it is true of a lot of people. They probably get to a level where they realize, I'm not willing to sacrifice more than I currently am to get further ahead. And that's where the people who are willing to give more are probably going to pull ahead, or the people that work a little bit harder. And don't get me wrong, there's a place, like, look, even if we look at an ab series and we break it down among the divisions, if you're somebody who, you know, wants to train hard, do well, but, you know, you have a full life outside of powerlifting, and, you know, you're not too worried about things like making weight or nutrition and things like that, you probably will have a home in Division 2 and do quite well there for a while. If you're somebody that's taking things a bit more seriously and you're ready to level up, you've got your D1, and then when you start getting into the likes of Pro-Am to fight for your invites for Abs Pro or put up the registered total for the Clash, that's when you're going to have to really start, like, those 1% differences make that big difference. And I think that's represented if we look at the caliber of athletes that have lifted at these types of competitions, the Clash, the Pro, the Reach Rumble. I want to ask you a couple of questions on each one. I think, like, the recognition of what it means to win one of these things, again, because there's only one winner of each category. There's no, like, participation trophies, no, you know, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. When you think of Clash of Titans, and we've talked previously about how this is just, even in just 2 years, has become one of the premier powerlifting platforms and competitions to compete at. And that title now already carries so much prestige. Do you think that competition, is there a type of lifter, or is there a particular person you think of that's like, that competition is like tailor-made for this caliber of lifter, or this type of lifter? If you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think Clash is like the big guy, you know, the big unit that needs specialist bars. Is so big they can't even get under a power bar almost. I think it's the guy who thrives competition.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go back to Dan Bell. Dan Bell came over. He wasn't vintage Dan Bell. He took a 12-week prep. He seen the roster, and he was like, I fancy a crack at these young boys. Yeah. One last spin of the wheel almost. And, you know, because he's just that guy who wants to fucking throw down. And, like, he'll always be part of our platform now. He's on the banner. Like, he'll always be part. He always, like, had that event where he had the competition, the next generation, as he says. So I think it's for the lifter that wants to be, doesn't just want to set a big total. They want to set it under the fucking pressure cooker that is Clash of Titans. They want to do it against other big hitters, you know? Not be in a class on their own where they're 100 kilo safe after seconds. Like, that's exhibition lifting. You know, they want to do it when it matters. Can they hold their nerve? Can they hold on to that last pull when they're shitting a brick? Can they hit that squat when it matters? That's the difference between doing a Clash of Titans and doing your standard meet, you know. It's a pressure cooker of rivalries and head-to-heads.
I think when I think of the lifters that do say like the Clash, it is quite literally like the name says. And I remember when you were conceptualizing, we were talking about it, when you think of Clash of Titans, I'm thinking like Godzilla versus King Kong. Just these larger than life figures these are all lads that are putting up 1,000+ kilo totals, or 220 pound totals, or 2,200 pound totals, I should say. Like these are huge people doing huge weights. So they're not worried about, you know, they're trying to finesse a coefficient formula, you know what I mean? They're just lifting the most weight against other lads that are lifting the most weight. Genuinely the biggest, strongest people you'll see on a powerlifting platform. Whereas in comparison to the Abs Pro, which I'll get your opinion on next, I think the Pro is a lot more tactical. I think it's a lot more like martial arts, because you've got your guy who's great on the ground, you know what I mean? And then you've got your guy who's great at striking. But it's now they're under this rule book where both are kind of legal, and I think that's kind of the interesting thing about the Pro. It's that it's the highest standard of lifting, in the sense that they're doing it on in the toughest conditions, with like the walkout squats out of the combo rack, 20 kilo bar, stiff bar deadlift. But you could be someone like a Dave Richardson, who's a heavyweight lifter, but is like technically perfect, right? Or you could be like a super lightweight lifter who, like even thinking back to where is everyone's names escaping me today? Think about Champion 2023. Oh my God, what is this fucking...
Boris.
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 Cheskov.
Yeah.
So Boris, like thinking about Boris, like, he weighed in at about 104, I believe. So again, on the lighter side of that flight, but just put together a huge total for that body weight.
1,000+ kilo, yeah.
This is it. We had Hayden Wiseman way back in 2022, and again another guy who weighed in super light but put together a competitive total. So you'll see that, and then you've obviously had like the likes of Jake and Eamon who've lifted as well at the Pro, just big lads lifting big weights. So you'll kind of see that it's almost like it's an everyman game, which creates an interesting set of battles.
Yeah.
And I like that about it, because you could have the 74 kilo lifter going head to head with the 125 kilo lifter, but they're both trying to play to their individual strengths for this formula outcome. And I like that about it.
So the Pro is obviously you said the dynamic is different. You've got to be more, I think there's more tactics involved, like, you know, what weight shall I come in at? Like, if I cut down this many kilos, I only have to lift this much, which would probably give me a more competitive formula. So we've seen in the past, like, lads absolutely butcher their weight cuts trying to be competitive. Then, you know, you've just got so many variables to it with the power bar, the wraps, you know, the big guys that they're going to be, their disadvantages, like they're walking out bigger weights on power bars. It's going to obviously be a little bit more taxing than the 83 kilo guy who's only walking out like 300 kilos. But then the big guy gets the advantage of the running order. So it's a totally different meet. You see that in like the diversity of the winners. I think we've had like this, 40 kilos disparity in the male winners.
Yeah.
Even in the female, you know, we had Heather Connor win, who's a 47 kilo lifter. We've had Denise and Brianni win that are, 80 kilo plus, so, or 76 kilo plus. So, it just offers a completely different dynamic. And what it does is showcase powerlifting in a different way, because you can see all different shapes and sizes. But at the end of the day, they all need to be clinical on the day to get high up in the Pro, Yeah. You see it in the results. You'll have guys who just shit the bed. They'll go like 4 for 9, be way under like their best numbers, because they just can't perform under them conditions. And then you'll get your Dave Richardsons and your Borises and your Denises and your Briannis who just thrive to the conditions, So definitely two different meets. The fact you have male and female as well. Out of our 3 major meets, that's the only one where we have the two genders. Spirit Penguins are not in that one. But yeah, that brings a different dynamic. I like having the girls around, it feels like the Pro.
Yeah.
You got all different shapes and sizes, whereas the Clash is just like, as you said, a load of King Kongs and Godzillas and Optimus Primes walking around like, you can, different vibes, so different conditions.
Well, and as I mentioned in our last episode, I wasn't at the Reach Rumble. What do you think was the unique element there in terms of the lifters that could do their best there?
Yeah. So I think the Rumble is like a hybrid of the two. You've got your big guys, but then you're stripping it back to the power bar, the sleeves, so the pace is a little bit faster. You don't have to worry about the wraps. You know, it's a bit more. What's the word? People can kind of understand it a little bit more as well, because majority of people in lifting sleeves these days, and they can compare it. Obviously, it's on a power bar, it's walked out. So I think it's just like taking the best out of the two other events, and then let's make a third event. And then for the big guys, what it shows is you can do it on specialist bars. Like big guys are known for you can only lift heavy on your deadlift bar and your mono. Okay, there you go. Let's do it on these. Let's see if you're good enough. Let's see if you can do it on these conditions. And Dave and Jake proved that they can lift on any bar, anywhere, anytime, any conditions. They can still put together a good performance. And in 2025, we're going to see that now with other lifters. Like Zach Myers is going to come and do the pro. Dave is doing all three. Carlton's doing all three. That's the test of a true elite powerlifter, is like being able to do it on any bar, anywhere, in any country, against anyone, not just at your local meet.
Yeah. Like even thinking over that past year, you mentioned Dave Richardson. He almost went 3 for 3 on those events. I think Reach was maybe just a little bit too soon after the pro for him.
Reach too far, yeah.
Yeah. He came second though.
Yeah, and he came second to a fucking unit. Yeah. Zach Myers, I think he's probably the most under the radar champion. We've barely mentioned Zach, but the guy won on like 7 for 9 performance.
Yeah.
And like there's more there. I think he's going to be a problem next year for Dave, I think, and Carlton. Like Carlton's not tested. Yeah, he won big dogs, but he was 100 kilos above his rival.
It's different when you have somebody else that's like within one attempt of you the whole time.
Yeah.
I think it's a different type of pressure that many, like, to be frank, a lot of the Yanks that are talking mad shit, they say, but I don't think they've been in that scenario before.
They've never been at an abs comp. Like, again, even taking out their closeness of your competition, doing it in a half-empty gym versus doing it in a venue where the crowd are literally a meter away from you, and it's fucking intimidating as fuck. It's completely different. Like if Carlton comes out and misses a squat, like he's still got to get all his lifts.
Yeah. The
pressure's on, whereas he didn't have that at Big Dogs. It wasn't there. He could win on openers almost. So and the standard is just completely different. The judging is different. So yeah, I think Dave, Zach, Carlton, Fernando's got coming back into form. Nicholas is like not even out of third gear. He just needs, he's so close to putting it together now. Next year is going to be an absolute furnace for competition, and
it's exciting.
Somebody, Carlton, Dave, or Zach. Zach's not doing 3, but somebody. I don't think the belt will go to the same person. I just don't think it's. I think Carlton's obviously got the best chance, but like we've seen it this year, like it's so hard to be 100% for all 3 events and be good in all 3 conditions.
Dave was very close.
Dave was so close. He's 1 lift away.
Yeah.
I think if, he won't like me saying this, but I think if he'd had a longer prep, he would have definitely pushed Zach more.
Yeah.
But Zach now has the experience. He knows. He made mistakes, and he was so strong that he didn't need to. He got away with it, and his coach picked the right attempts. So, I think Zach Myers if he can stay injury free, he's going to be a problem.
See, like, is that who you'd put money on if you were to say anyone could run away with a couple of these meets? Zach Myers.
I don't think he'll run away with him. I just think he's a fucking is very gritty. Like I refereed that flight, and he could have crumbled. Like he jumped his squat command, went up, got it. He executed his second bench, big bench, no issues. And again, like he may have had a soft lockout in his deadlifts, but he still got his second. He still put the weight on the bar that forced Dave to miss. So I think he'll definitely be top 3 at each event he lifts at. And it's going to take a big performance to like take his belt away from him as well at the Rumble.
I think Dave could do it.
Dave is Dave, you know. I think Dave, we all know Dave is going to be there at the end of the year. It's just whether he can do all.
The thing is, though, I think because Dave is like not a particularly loud guy. He's quite he's quite mild-mannered, quite chill. I think people sometimes, maybe less so after this year, but I think previously people kind of underestimated him a little bit. Whereas I think he's shown up time and time again. Oh, yeah. Like even looking at last year, the only meet he didn't take the title at was Reach. Not only was it so soon after him winning Abs Pro, but it's also like Zach Morris didn't really have to travel for that, let's be honest. I know he probably doesn't live in fucking Utah, but like Dave had to fly to the other side of the world to compete, you know what I mean? And he still showed up, still did it, still beat the rest of the roster. He just fell short by one lift. So yeah. I would say there's a chance you could see Dave Richardson with all 3 belts.
He's entered all 3, so that's a start. Yeah, it's just whether he can stay at that level for 3 comps more so, because that's the thing, 3 comps a year is a lot when you're that strong.
At that level is huge.
And be interesting to see now he's working with a new coach. That's always a risk within itself when things are going well. We know that, we're coaches. But yeah, it would be nice to see someone do it. Who's the first person to do it? No one's won a belt back to back. And we're talking about winning all 3. No one's managed to win the same event 2 years in a row.
Will you call it the series Grand Slam?
Yeah, we'll call it the Grand Slam. It is a Grand Slam.
It is, yeah.
Like, I think even chatting to Colton, like I was like, what is your goal? He wants to be known as the strongest human. Yeah. I said, but does that mean being known as the greatest powerlifter? Because, he could lose all 3 comps this year and then do a local meet at the end of the year and beat Dan Bell's total. Does that mean he's the strongest human, but doesn't necessarily mean he's the best powerlifter if you shit the bed every comp. So
it's like in football, you could score the most goals in history, but your team could always lose.
Yeah, it's like, I think you have to do both. You have to win events and set numbers that no one has done. So I know that's his goal as well. And yeah, I just think it's an insane year for powerlifting. And the other thing we didn't really touch on was the female Abs Pro.
Yeah.
Brianni Terry showed that she's clinical. She 9 for 9, made that win look easy. She scared a lot of the competition off.
Well, do you know something about that particular flight of powerlifting? Because naturally, I mentioned I was commentating it with Ian Benson. I think her only real potential, somebody who could have given her a good run, was maybe Jen Smith, because she weighed in so light. But like Jen Smith and Landry Peden as well, and this is like no shade on them, but they demonstrated that they obviously didn't train for the standard they're about to lift at.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with the Abs Pro. It's not a massive gulf in terms of like the numbers, but it's just you have to be 100% on the ball, otherwise you're going to get penalized. And one bad lift pretty much throws you out. Look at the guys. Luke and Fernando got red lighted on depth. I was coaching them 2 at the time. My 2 lifters got I was looking after them. They got hit on depth, and that was them done.
Yeah,
they were out after squats. They were just battling with each other. Dave went 3 for 3, unless he like completely fucked up. It was his to lose. So the margins of error at the pro are just so small that you can't squat high in training. You can't
pause your bench.
Open too heavy. You have to play. And Brianni and Joe showed the difference between game day competitive lifting there versus like just going out and maxing out. So yeah, we need someone to push Brianni next year. Like, if you are a female lifter and you want to compete on a power bar and show that you can do it anywhere,
Shame
hit us
Denise
up.
Herber started High Rocks.
Yeah, that's criminal.
Yeah.
But I get it. She had a good year in powerlifting, you know.
Yeah.
And Brianni repeated that. She won the pro. She broke the biggest deadlift record, I think, on both bars, and she just won the American Pro pretty easy. So, you know, she's winning comps now.
I think there is anyone that could take a shot at Brianni.
Absolutely. There's a group of 4 or 5 lifters. It's just whether they want to come and show that they can do it at abs, you know. I've spoke to a few of them, but again, like, the mentality is slightly different.
Yeah.
Like, winning at other events is different. You know, we've seen that. We've seen American lifters come over and struggle. We've seen all different nationalities come over and they should win easy, but they don't.
They don't, yeah.
You know, Nicholas lost to Boris.
Yeah.
No one even had Boris in their top 5, you know. Nicholas was winning hands down. He came, I think, 2nd.
Yeah.
So, you know, Dan Bell should have won on numbers, on paper. You know, one lift cost him. If he'd gotten that squat, he would have won. You know, attempt selection on the day, looking back, he wanted to be the first man to do 1,000. Whereas if he'd gone a little bit lighter or retook, he probably would have won the belt. So it's all well and good saying, oh, I've beat this person before, but like doing it here when you've got a stacked roster and, you know, the environment's totally different is another thing.
It's the strategy of powerlifting I don't think people really consider. And I don't think you can until you lift at a high level, that every decision you have, from like what way you pace out your warm-ups to what you choose as an opener, what type of jumps you're willing to take, where to take the risks, when to be conservative. It's not literally just like, I think especially when you're newer to powerlifting, everyone's like, I just want to go out and get a new personal best.
Yeah.
Like, that's not always part of the game.
Yeah.
Do you know, actually though, speaking of some of the female athletes, I actually think, looking over even on our poster, I think Stella Higgins is somebody that we could see take the #1 spot eventually.
Yeah.
You know, if we think back to her first appearance where she came 2nd to Denise Herber, she had only just come off the back of a bodybuilding prep, and I know she kind of like does like a hybrid training style with a bit of strongman. So I would wonder if she fully committed to like powerlifting for like 18 months.
Yeah.
Would that be enough?
Well, I've obviously spoke to Stella. Her main focus is just the abs pro next year. That's her next competition. So I think Stella's like growing into it. You know, she's been around a long time. I remember doing her interview like 8, I think she's like 7, 8, 9 years in the game. So she's someone I think who appreciates it. You just got to be there every year, get a little bit better, and your time will come. You know, she's lost to Denise Herber and Brianna Terry.
Yeah, so
that's like losing to 2 goats essentially of the sport. So she's more than capable. She's getting experience every event. You've seen her performance this year. Yeah, it was like much better than the first year. You know. So I'd love to see someone like Stella win it. Just, you know, rewarding longevity is massive.
Yeah, the female side, I think, is always, you're going to see this, the disparity sometimes between the lifters is always going to be wild in not only their like compositions and their totals and numbers, but like you'll also see some of the girls, like, obviously everyone knows that series meets are untested. You'll see like some girls that come in that are incredibly competitive, that are like completely natural. Yeah. And then like there is an enhanced side, but like I don't think it's to the same degrees as you might see on some of the male side, or so, unless it like stands out by a mile.
Yeah, no, not really.
I think that's what makes it interesting. I know we've talked before, you thought maybe like female powerlifting was more competitive on the tested side. Has your opinion changed on that at all?
I think it's deeper.
Yeah.
Because there's just more people that do it. So naturally it's going to be deeper. There's going to be more classes. I think that up in that upper echelon of untested, you've got a group of like maybe 10 girls that are all like seriously close to each other, and it's about just who does it on the day. Yeah. The problem is getting them 10 girls on the same platform. I think there is a bit more avoidance with some of them. Which is what it is, you know. Different strokes for folks. So that's why we don't tend to have the depth in the abs pro battles with the girls up in them top spot. You know, they just, where the guys tend to more of them want to prove themselves, you know. So
from a meet director standpoint and like recruitment, is that like one of the more frustrating parts that people don't really see? Is trying like, you're like, this would be a great battle, and they're just like,
yeah, it's one of the variables you just can't control. You know, you can put together the best show, give out all the free shit, get the crowd, but some people don't want to come and play. They want to stay in the safe lane, not overtake, which is fine, you know. But like, you'll be forgotten about. Whereas you look at, you know, you think of Ed Cohen, that guy beat the best on the day, you know.
He showed up.
Yeah, like, you know, look, think of Sir Dave. He's beaten everyone bar from Boris that one event. He's lost to a few people, but he's also shown that he can compete with people on the day, you know.
Boris is back in 2025.
No, he's not ready. So
The knees still.
yeah, since the quad that's what I mean about you know, staying at the peak for a whole year is different. Boris won the pro. He got invited to like every competition known after that, and blew his knees out in the warm-up room in the Ghost Clash. So I think he did a Germany comp as well before that. So again, just picking your comps out, being able to build and peak properly is key to not just like winning a belt, but like staying there for years to come.
Hopefully then 2026.
Yeah, I want to see Boris and Dave, and
because that's what we were talking about it the last time we had Fernando here and we were commentating. He's done so many competitions. Fernando Arias, who came in and like really turned a few heads at his first appearance with us, and then I think it's like he had like this nice upward swing and lots of momentum, but he just like flew a bit too close to the sun and burnt himself out a bit too much, because he had obviously peaked so many times, or tried, like you mentioned, tried to stay at that top level. Now, luckily, it looks like he's been injury free, but still, like you see him like weights that he's moved so fast previously. Then on the platform, they're like moving a bit more. There's that pop that's just not there, and you can just tell it's guy needs an off season. He's somebody I'm excited to see next year.
Yeah, I think Fernando knows that himself. So, you know, it's hard to, when you're new, because Fernando's new in the sport, really, in the grand scheme of things. So when you're new in, you come in, you win these big comps, you get invites to all these other comps, and then you're like, it's hard to turn them down, especially when there's money involved. I think he knows now that if he wants to be competitive at that highest level, he's going to have to pick and choose what events he wants to push for, you know? Not necessarily not do events, but it's about peaking and pushing. Like, you know, it's the 4 or 5 weeks of pushing into an event that kills you, not necessarily like the max out on the day. So I think Fernando, and that just comes with experience, you know. He's like, I think he's been competing like 3-4 years now, so he'll know that himself. He's, you know, and he's starting to get that pop back, as you say. His deadlifts up, his bench is like blown up. His squats are starting to come together again. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Fernando back.
Yeah.
Fernando. And then obviously you got Nick as well, that's obviously putting together stuff in the background. I can't wait to see Nick put it down as well.
And it makes, I suppose, like we'll see Luke back as well.
Yeah, Luke Tolman. So obviously Luke's not a Titan. But like Luke is, he didn't have the best abs pro this year, but he didn't, that's his own fault. He didn't prepare properly. And as I said, the abs pro is a different animal. You can't go in half-assed. Luke took the invite last minute because he just couldn't miss out on it, you know, and got penalized. Whereas next year, his whole prep is built around the abs pro. He's going to be walking out his squats all year. I know he's doing the Germany comp, the Fitness Store Classic, as kind of a warm-up. But he's going to be walking out his squats for that, even though he doesn't have to. He's going to be training for that. So abs pro is his main focus next year. And Luke's won the comp. He knows how to win it.
He knows how to get there, yeah.
The guy's getting stronger every prep. Like,
I think he's matured a lot as an athlete.
yeah.
Like from when he first came to us, like he was obviously a good bit younger. He's still a junior at the time, and it was like that he had that fire in his belly. You know what I mean? But you can see now he's really dialed in the headspace. He's come a long way.
He's very methodical with his training. And the best thing to happen to Luke is when he doesn't have a good day, because he just adapts and gets better. So yeah, I'm excited to see Luke. I really want him to have a good showing at the pro next year, because he puts the work in.
He's unbelievable.
He's fucking class. Like, he's so, like UK powerlifting's never been so strong. You've got Dave, you've got Luke, you got other lads coming in behind him. That sounds wrong.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bad pun. But you got all the others pushing as well. So, I think Luke can't believe I'm saying it, but he'll kind of be an underdog to win,
which is mad.
Yeah, I think if he knows himself, like just getting podium now is like, at the roster you got Zach Myers, Colton, Dave, Nick, Fernando, Luke, all at the Abs Pro. I think me and Shane Hunt were chatting. Shane wants to come over and do it. Joe Sullivan, like that's an insane lineup.
Did you see his post that he decided not to go into bodybuilding after coming to see the Abs Pro?
Yeah. No, it's just cool,
Yeah.
And he did the Abs Pro that wasn't here. So imagine
what it's going to feel like when he gets here. Yeah.
Next year, it's going to be big.
I remember when he and Brianni came down to the gym just before. They came down a couple of days before, and me and the lads were training, and they couldn't get over that we all just work on the same rack. Like culturally, I think there's things here domestically we don't realize, like I wouldn't even say take for granted, because it's something that's instilled from you from the day you start training here about working as a team. And I think it's actually quite rare in powerlifting that people do that, which I think is bizarre. And I think that's part of the draw for here. Naturally, the three competitions we're naming with the title belts, they have like their own unique draw for the standard of competition they are and how recognised and prestigious they are. But I think part of it is that, like, and I know you've told me some stories about your interactions with Shane Hunt when you were over for the Reach Rumble, which I won't repeat, not all of them. But he was really saying, like, this is like class. This is like, he wants to be part of it now because he gets it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to say it's like a family, because that's a bit cringy.
It kind of is.
It's good that everyone is like the Abs crew is just it's international now.
Yeah.
I mean, you got like.
I feel it is like. I feel. Like even like with Zeus and all, we chat like. I don't know. It's just different, I think. I just think it's like a lot closer than, like I said, we all train together on the same rack. Like I was going around gyms in Utah, like robbing equipment for the comp, and it was kind of an eye opener. Like, all the gyms are busy, but like they're all just sat on their phones with headphones, like not interacting. Where you could come in at any given day and you'll just work in with whoever's on the rack, or worst case you'll work on the rack beside them because your weights are so different, or you're doing bench and deadlift. But at least just talk to each other. Because you haven't got your headphones in and you're not on your phone, or you shouldn't be. And that kind of, that spreads out. So when you go away, you're expected to interact with other people. You're not introverted, which is what I think people like about Abs. We're not afraid to be like, oh, well, you're a powerlifter too. Let's actually communicate and chat. Not like, this weird engagement, which you get at IPF comps. You get at internationals. Obviously not everyone, but you see all the kids and all, and especially they're so fucking afraid to like interact with someone because they just don't do it. Powerlifting is the training of powerlifting these days is like very appealing to the introvert, because you can just put your headphones in, go on your phone, and just avoid the whole everything. Whereas Abs is the opposite. You can't do that, and it's not everyone's cup of tea. That's fine, but then when you go to these events, like people are like, "Oh, right, you're just one of us now. Get
in on that, right?
Here, have a drink."
Just a drink, a nice innocent drink.
Yeah. So
no, that was definitely like the appeal for me, and I think that's like a catalyst for why it's grown the way it has. And even so, like let me even ask you, just looking at 2025, is there anyone like you're looking forward to seeing compete again at the series? Like, is there any names that pop out at particularly these three events?
I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Zach Myers coming over and doing the pro. I really think that guy has got something about him. I think he's going to really level up. Obviously, Dave is Dave, you know.
Whenever Dave's
Dave
on,
is
it's like
Dave.
seeing your mate again.
Yeah, like I fucking see Dave more than my family, and that's not even a joke.
Yeah.
Like I've seen him more times than my family. So this year, so yeah, Dave. I really want to see Brianni come back and be pushed. Trying to find her a fucking partner is tough. I'm looking forward to seeing if Carlton can do it.
Yeah.
I think he can. You know, normally we're quite skeptical of people coming over, but just hearing stories about him, the way he is, I think he's the real deal. So we'll find out on that. And then, yeah, Joe Sullivan coming out of kind of retirement almost, seeing what he can put together. And the Rumble lineup is going to be insane. So I just want to see the battles. Like, I just want to see who can put it together and not shit the bed next year.
Right, I'll tell you mine, because I want to see if he's actually even still going to live with us. Jesse Moran.
Jesse just had another baby. So as of now, he's not doing the Grand Prix. However, knowing Jesse, he can do a U-turn. He literally told me that the day after his daughter was born. He said he's just going to have to focus on maybe a local meet. But he is coming back to lift.
Yeah.
But don't worry, I'm going to work on him.
Please.
We need Jesse Moran back for a competition. So I think he's just, you know what it's like, baby brain. Yeah. But I'd love to. We all want to see fucking Jesse hit the platform.
What, like, think Jesse just has that little bit of something that we need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's a twat.
Yeah, but it's
a good one. He's a fucking cunt.
Yeah, and I think as well, actually, as the years go on, and even like I said it when I saw this banner, it's so bizarre to see something to do with the ab series that has no one Irish on it.
I know, it's kind of shit, but the boys need to fucking bring it back. Like, you know, Jake needs to put together another 1,000. Eamon's like only coming back from his injuries. So yeah, we're lacking Irish lifters. You can't just go up because you're Irish. Like, you know, that goes against everything we kind of do.
You know, I think I agree. I get it. I think it's probably just like, it's jarring obviously when you're there from day one.
Yeah.
And then know your spots slowly like.
That's competitive sport. You know,
100%,
you can't be sentimental. I said this to Jesse because we were chatting about like what it takes to be a franchise lifter. I was like Jesse and Jake are right there, you know. Jesse retired and moved and has yet to come back, and Jake just needs that one big performance again.
Too focused on his chickens and his lizards.
Yes, he's polishing his eggs and stuff. But it's there, like, you know, he's just been a bit unlucky with injuries, Jake. But yeah, like, you know, trust me, I would love to. It's just been sentimental, you know, the Jake Jesse era.
Yeah.
And then there was kind of
it's class.
It's fucking cool. We would love to see that back. But I think there's lads coming through, you know. Toaster is going to do an ab series next year. There's Scott Dean, the under 20 champ.
Yeah, that's right.
He's doing an ab series. So Emma McDermott is doing an ab series. So we do have Anna Herhane going to do an ab series again. So we do have some Irish lifters doing it next year, which is good. Slash Irish Moldovan. So not Keen, sorry. Toaster, I think, finished as the #1 ranked lifter this year on Dots in Ireland.
I believe so, yeah.
From the island.
Still rank 1 junior as well, I think.
Not all. I think he had the highest score this year. Yeah. Obviously not all time, but from anyone.
But isn't he rank 1 junior all time?
Oh yeah. He's #1 junior, but open as well now. So that's good. Like your #1 tested active lifter on the island of Ireland is doing the ab series next year. So you have to like word that, which is good. So
yeah, I think it's that though, isn't it? It's like powerlifting. not powerlifting is still relatively new in Ireland, but I mean this iteration of powerlifting is still it's probably less than 10 years old, really, maybe coming up on 10 years old. And then when you think about most of like the exceptional lifters we have domestically are probably in it like under 7 years at the moment. So I think the growth of the series has just outpaced the development of the athletes for now, and we'll probably see like another level up over the next couple of years, which will be good.
And one last guy, Conor Kernan. So he'll be back for possibly 2 competitions next year.
Just don't cut as much weight.
Yeah, but he's still very young, so I think he's like the next lifter, untested, that's gonna do damage in Ireland. You know,
he's time on his side as well because he got into it so early, and he kind of absorbed the culture of powerlifting so early, and developed as a young athlete. He started lifting in Alves when he was 18.
16.
So like you know what I mean. Even the amount of time he's had to like grow and develop, like he's got the experience level now of some lads not till they're in their 30s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And he's still in his early 20s, like so.
And he's fucking strong. Like he's getting
incredible,
strong, and he's not dumb. He's not pushing the weights to the point where he's going to be out of the sport. He's like gets his bloods done after every comp. He doesn't rush things. You know, he didn't have the best meet at 0 Pro. He still got 2 PBs. So, I think given time, he'll kind of be the next generation of that untested lifter coming through.
I think as well, actually, just on that, just using that as an example, and I think it's one of the things we mentioned earlier on about Luke and him not having a fantastic comp at the Abs Pro this past year. I think that a breakthrough for a lot of lifters is when they stop living and dying by the results at one meet and realising a lot of things are trial and error. So like you'll try something coming into a meet and you'll figure out if it works for you or not, or maybe something worked for your first 6 meets and it just doesn't work anymore and you need to change. Because like you've probably seen that yourself. People have a bad day or they miss an attempt and they freak out, and it's like, all right, well we'll just get back to the drawing board. We'll sort it out. Like it'll be fun.
That's kind of what me and Luke did with the bench. We changed up the bench peak for his last comp. We completely changed it, and you know, he benched like I think he broke the bench record, the all-time British bench record, 271 something kilo.
Jesus Christ.
But his bench peak was working before. We're like, do you know what? We'll just change it up. I think so. Not being afraid to change things, because things will only work until they don't.
It's all a process, not just with coaching, but even I'd imagine for running these types of competitions. Every comp, whether like we mentioned earlier on, Abs Pro 2024, Abs Pro 6, we ran it in the Red Cow venue, went fantastically, and nothing was wrong, but it probably was a case of we're like, actually, we probably are better off just running it here. So that makes me very excited for the 2025 Abs Pro, but like, I still think I'm looking forward to Clash of Titans 3.
Titans 3, 100%. Yeah. And Rumble, you're going to love, I know you weren't out there, but the Rumble is just unbelievable. Like, it's really good as well. So is Clash. It's just the fact that where it is, the location. Like the lads were down in the gun range shooting guns the day of the competition. There's none of this like bullshit like safety, you know, like a normal gun range when you go on holiday. They just went in, $20, box of ammo, here's a gun. Right, just make sure you shoot down that direction, lads, The guys were shooting guns the fucking day of the comp, like chilling. You know, Jura pulls up in a convertible Mustang. It's like, it's the most big American flags everywhere. Like Utah is like the most American experience you're gonna get. And then like just the venue and all, it's just cool. Like it's just it's different. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And it's really cool, like being away. It reminded me of the old days with the IPF where you went away as like a team, as a group. When I feel now it's very like individual, and you're just not treated very well by the organization. You know, you're just a number. Was back in the early days of the IPF, you were part of like a big family. Yeah,
I think that's even like from my own experiences. Like, I suppose I'm lucky in a way with the caps I have there for Western Europe, so it's a weekend. So everyone does go together.
They do.
Whereas I have seen now, I've gotten a few lifters their first couple of caps, and like that they'd be like, yeah, I'm in the hotel, but like everyone else is either lifting the day before me or the days after me. So the people who are there before me and they've already lifted, they're basically treating the rest like a holiday. And everyone that's yet to lift is kind of like locked in. They don't want to be down around all the food or the celebrations. They're trying to stay recovered. So you're kind of there, which is just you and the coaches. And if you're lucky to be one other person in your session.
And then just touching on that, one of the big things that changed from like the early IPF days is we would always stay in the same hotels. Because they've jacked up the prices, people stay, they either fucking get home as soon as possible because they're paying double the price, or they'll stay in the hotel for the minimum period and then they'll move to a cheap Airbnb because so it's like, so then you're not even like doing things together.
I remember that even for just gone with Malta. So the competition venue, now it was handy because the hotel was the venue. So that was nice. It was just downstairs. So we were there for the first couple of days. But I remember, look, we wanted to stay for a week because our first holiday with the kid, like, and I was looking at what it would cost to like extend the stay, just to stay in Doubletree. And it was working out as over $2,000 just for the hotel.
And where was that?
Doubletree by Hilton.
Malta. Yeah, like fuck me, like.
And I wouldn't mind the hotel itself was nice, but the location wasn't great. You know what I mean? So we did do exactly that. We swapped to an Airbnb, and it was a nice Airbnb, and it was a fraction of the price. And I think that, like for us, for me in particular, it's less to do with the price; it's more to do with the experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like for some lifters, it's a real thing that they do have to contend with. I wanted to see more of the country and be closer to things, so that's why we moved to the Airbnb. But I also wasn't given this fucking place another $1.5 or whatever. But I think that's definitely one thing. Anytime, like we talked about Scotland last year, I know the lads had a great. My baby was born right before Cologne, so I didn't get to go. So they took my Airbnb, but they had a good time. But I know that like going as a team, the guys are going out to eat together, they're drinking together, whatever else they're doing together, but everyone goes together and it's always just it's memories. Even like domestically, we travel around domestically for even whether it's RHPF meets or whatever it might be, people want to go as a team. So I think that's, and like we talked about earlier on, culturally for abs powerlifting, I think that's something that's kind of been brought into the series meets as well, is that when the crew rolls in, everyone's just kind of like absorbed into it. So I'm sure all the lads in Utah probably got a good element of that as well.
That's it, man. It was just a big group, like you know, like fucking going back to Shane Hunt. Shane Hunt had a hotel room provided for him from me and Richie. He landed on, I think Richie picked him up. He got dropped up at the venue and he just ended up crashing at our Airbnb the whole time. But even though he had a hotel room like free the whole time, I think he slept on the couch the one night. So just because he preferred that environment.
How did he fit on the couch?
It's America. It's a big couch. It was a big house, but like that's what I mean. He was just with everyone then. It was like he was just always part of the crew, you know. So I think it was only the last day he went off with his mate Johnny Kaufman. So yeah, it's just that's the way it is, you know. And that's cool. That's why you're not in powerlifting for the money, really. Let's be real. You're in there to have a good time. So yeah, Utah I'd love to see loads of people, and obviously South Africa that's going to be another massive trip. So I appreciate people won't necessarily be able to do both, but they'll both be great experiences.
And that's potentially, I know this sticks out in my head. I don't know if I said this. I think I might have said it on one of the last podcasts, but I remember in one of the many iterations of the abs group chat that we had, I think it was coming into like Nationals 2020, and you had said to everyone, you know, to enjoy it because one day basically they'll be old and grey and won't be able to do it anymore. And all they'll have is the memories. I can't remember, I'm paraphrasing, but I think of that every time about one of these things.
Yeah, and it's true because it just goes like, you know, just stops. So you're seeing it with their XPC guy. The meet director just dropped dead 2 weeks out. Like that's how quick things can just change. So enjoy it while it lasts. Get your spectator tickets.
The lifting pass, get that sorted. It's not that much money. You get loads of meets that you can watch. You can give out in the comments.
Yeah, we won't send to you.
Yeah, absolutely not. I just take the piss out of my commentary.
Where it should be.
But let me ask you two things about 2025 and then I'll wrap it up. So, if somebody does... So let's just say, for example, Dave has previously won Clash and Pro. If he won Reach, even if he didn't do all three in the 1 year, but he won the Reach Rumble, would there be some kind of commemoration for being the first three-time champ?
I think so, yeah. Like, he's still the first guy to win all three belts. Like, he's still a triple champ.
Like, that's an unbelievable achievement.
Yeah, I think, because, again, they're three different comps, so under 3 different conditions in 2 different arenas. So, well, actually, no, he's won.
Yeah, he won
So,
the
like,
one in Redcar.
Yeah, so like I think definitely like he's the first guy to win all 3. Like winning all 3 in the same year is a different animal, you know.
That's outrageous. Somebody can do that.
So yeah, definitely. Even just winning one of them back to back, he's doing something that no one else has managed to do, you know. Like a lot of people can't even get back to the platform the following year. They either retire or they're broke. So yeah, definitely.
Now, and then the final thing I want to ask you about 2025, thinking of the 3 main titles and the 3 big championships, is there any one particular head-to-head or any one particular these lifters in these conditions that you want to see?
I'd love to see John Hack and Carlton go head-to-head at the Rumble. I think that would be very interesting. But I think of all 3 competitions, the Rumble is going to probably see the biggest, what's the word? It's going to be the most challenging because if it goes the way I think it goes, I think this, you know, Carlton in sleeves on a power bar is going to be really kind of pulling back, and then that's going to suit Zach and Dave and Nick and Fernando and all the other fucking juggernauts. I think that's going to be the most competitive in terms of depth. The Abs Pro will throw up a surprise, it always does. And then the Clash, I just think we're going to see some big totals, you know, 3-4 guys that are just going to put big totals up. And again, like it's Abs, anyone can win on the day. It's not, nothing's a given.
Yeah, like we saw the first Clash, I think they got 6 lads were like got injured in the last couple of weeks coming in.
That's it.
So the lineups completely change, and that can happen for any competition. Even talking about Reach Rumble, like that's the other end of the year. We'll have to just wait and see who even makes it that far.
Yeah, because as we've seen this year, like over half the initial roster pretty much dropped out through injuries. You know, because when you're pushing them top end weights, you get top end injuries, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a very interesting year, if nothing else. I think we just have to take it in like quarters or even like thirds to see how things play out, whether it's, you know, how the lads' training's gone, who wins what meet. You know, does somebody win a meet and do they build momentum like Dave did last year, or do they like win their meet and then they start like crashing and burning a little bit like Fernando did after so many meets back to back? I'll be very excited to see how it goes. But that is pretty much it for 2025 preview, folks. Make sure you are subscribed on the Abs Lift Pass, and we'll be back with more very soon.